Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my so-called Gen X life. This is my channel. My name is Natalie, and tonight we are doing my so-called book club. Joining me, as always, is my subscriber, my channel member, my mod, my friend. Hello, Grendelson. How's it going?
What up, Natalie?
Hello. Boy, I look like I'm orange or red or something's going on with my lighting. I need to fix that.
Well, no, I mean, you're not that. It's not that bad. I mean,
I
I
look
can
like I'm
still
a little
see
bit of a
you.
tomato. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything. I was out without power for about 24 hours, and so I had to redo everything and reset everything. And
That's so crazy.
It was a crazy flash flood. We had people on the tops of their houses being rescued by helicopters. It was crazy. Yikes. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
we don't ever get we don't get shit like stuff like that. We get an earthquake every, actually I think we had one this weekend, but it was really small. So
right. Yeah. This was a flash flood. We got about a foot of rain in about 30 minutes. And when I tell you, it dumped on us hardcore, and it came so fast. The river rose. So, I mean, there was nothing you could do. And luckily nobody was killed that I know of. Thank the Lord.
That's good.
But we had about 300 to 400 people had to be rescued out of the campground nearby. So, it was an experience.
Wow. So, well, that pales in comparison to my week. I mean,
luckily I don't live on the lake, so I didn't get flooded, but we had a bunch of people, and no power for a while. But how'd your week go?
I ended up working almost a full week, which was great, and made some money, got out in the sun, got sunburnt a little bit. That was fun.
Good times. You gotta be careful doing that.
Let's see, what else did I do?
Thank you, San Diego, Chrissy.
I don't jinx it. Yeah, no, I won't. I have to shout out my buddy Chase over at Spectrum. He lowered my bill by like $70 yesterday.
Oh, nice.
That's fantastic. That's the big highlight of my week. I was paying $120 for internet, and I'm like, I don't want to pay that much. And so
that's about what I pay for it. I got Spectrum's fastest whatever, but
you should be. My area, it was like $50 for Frontier or AT&T. So I just said, I'll move to one of them. And they said, okay, let me drop you down.
Right. Exactly.
So I promised him a shout out. I told him all about the book club, and
nice.
Cause he was like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I'm going to do a podcast tomorrow. Or a book club live stream tomorrow. So I need some bandwidth,
Yes.
So now I'm supposed to be getting a gig, which we'll see.
Oh, we'll hope so.
We'll see. I don't know.
Now, I did change the settings on tonight's live stream to where only channels members and channel subscribers are able to comment in the chat.
Okay.
After last week. So you have to be a subscriber or a channel member on this channel in order to participate in the chat.
That's super smart.
Yeah, just so we can keep it as civil as possible. And this is going to be a fun week. This is going to be a good week. This is kind of the week I've been waiting for with this book. However, I do want to say again, before we get started, this is not about politics. This is not about left and right. This is not about politicians. This is not about any of that. Tonight's going to be it could be a tough discussion in some areas, but it's not about politics. It's about, like you said last week, about observing what's been going on. What they predicted in this book is the angle we're taking. It's not about present day mindset and who's left or right or any of that. So it's because we're getting into the crisis. We're getting into the fourth turning, and it's wild how well they did with it. And I think this chapter really proves their theory correct. This is all the proof I think you need for the Strauss and Howe theory is this chapter, because this chapter that we're getting ready to read tonight was written in 1997.
If you're not a believer after this chapter, I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't think you're going to believe.
It is. I don't. If you're not a believer after this, I don't know what you'll believe, but more power to you. And we will not be doing the political thing. That got heated. I mean, it wasn't us. It was people in the chat were being were being not cool. And so for the first time ever, we had to exercise some
moderation,
some moderator powers that we didn't really want to do. We don't want to do that. This is not our. This is not the time
98% of where you can go on the internet, you can talk your politics, but this is just the
absolutely.
one place. This is the one place that I don't want it, and it's not what this. That's not the angle we're taking. We're taking.
Nah, I don't want to fight politics. I come here not
Edward
to fight
the Stork
politics.
says, it's about studying history and culture, and today we're gonna be. That's gonna clash with current events, and that's okay. But just
and we can have
understand.
And and it's not like we don't have our internal biases. We do.
Sure.
It's just that we're not going to hammer them home. There's no reason to. Let's keep the discussion, light and airy, because the content is going to be mind-blowing enough.
Exactly.
So we hope you have a good time. Enjoy, kick back, relax, smoke your stuff, drink your wine, and kiss the girls or boys, whatever you want to do.
Yes. Now I got to bring up the book. Where's it?
I was having a hard time. I actually had to go to the archive. Something's up with my computer. I had to actually load it up online. I don't know why it's not loading today.
No, that's not good. Well, tonight I hope I don't have any internet problems. I've been having a lot of internet problems the last few days, so I'm hoping that you're not going to lose me.
Well,
if
there's
that
always
happens,
next week.
we'll just if somehow you'll lose me for a second, I'll try to come back. But if not, we'll just continue next week. Now,
so what chapter are we on now?
Before we get it, we're gonna get into chapter 9, which is we're gonna glaze through chapter 9, which is the history of the fourth turning. But before we do that, I want to read the last little paragraph in chapter 8, which ends the third turning, because there's a little segment called Toward the Fourth Turning that I wanted to read. In the actual book, it is on page 251 in the printed version that I have here. On the Internet Archive, it is on page 318.
Oh shit, that's what I got too. Yay, I should.
Yay! Good deal.
Turn it
so
off,
I'm going to read this little end of the chapter 8, and then we're going to fly through chapter 9. We're just going to touch really quick on previous fourth turnings, and then we're going to get into chapter 10 and their predictions. So let's see how it goes. We ready?
All right. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Here we go. Toward the fourth turning. Years in advance. And again, this was written in 1997 by William Strauss and Neil Howe. Years in advance, plans are afoot for an epic revelry to celebrate the dawning of the year 2000. Some revelers will hear the scrolls of Nostradamus recited in the shadows of the pyramids of Giza. Others will board a chartered Concorde just after midnight and zoom back through time from the third millennium to the second. But once the gaudy doings are over and the bags unpacked, Americans will reach a distressing realization. The first days of the new millennium will look and feel like the last days of the old one. A year later, the trumpets will blare Zarathustra to mark Zarathustra, as a hard one for me to say, to mark the dawn of 2001, the true start of history's new millennial epic, or epoch. I never know the right way to say that one. And then, too, the ensuing year will produce the same old news about culture wars, social chaos, and political gridlock. Not much will change.
Well, they kind of missed that part.
They missed it because they didn't know. They would have been right because they were right up until 9/11.
They would have been.
Yeah, they were right up until 9/11. The year 2000, the first part of 2001, to me is still the 90s in pop culture. Like everything of the movies, the music, the TV, it's all still part of the 90s, right? It wasn't until 9/11/01 that
the 90s did not end until 9/11/01.
That is correct.
Exactly right. They also didn't begin they didn't begin on 1990 either.
They didn't begin until about the fall of 91, first of 92. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah, they don't. The 90s don't begin until the end of 91, early 92. So the early 90s are still part of the 80s, and just like the late 70s, just like the early 80, 81. Those are still the 70s.
Still the 70s, absolutely.
Yeah.
It takes a year or two for the culture to transition to a different
It does
trend.
Although I think the 60s did actually end at the end of 69.
You're not wrong.
From what I understand, I wasn't there, but from what I understand, 70 wasn't that much. Was very different than 69.
Very different from 69, right?
Yeah.
Well, we got a.
Yeah, I think Klosterman does say the same in the 90s.
Hello, Jelani McLean. Hello, West Palm Beach, Florida. Thanks for checking in tonight. Ooh. Aaron B 9834. Hello. Edward This Door. Thanks for joining us. Dale Glassmeyer. Rachel 413G. San Diego Chrissy. Bicyclist 2. Z-Man 420. Hello.
Wow.
Did I get everybody? I think that's Veracruz B. Hello. I just wanted to say hello to everybody in the chat before we got started. All right. Let's keep a moving. So the mood of the early OOs will be much like today's, except a lot more jittery. These will be years of the reality check, of worries about a looming national payback as Americans of all ages begin focusing on how poorly they and their government have prepared for the future. People will no longer deny that the unraveling's individual empowerment has led to antisocial behavior and a dangerous degree of institutional decay. That would, I get that. The institutional decay. I would agree with that one.
It's still, that stuff definitely still happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
They just could have never predicted something like the 9/11 thing. The harms, especially to youth, will now be perceived to have accumulated to such a grievous extent that truly fundamental change will be required to get the nation back on course. Today's talk about America's inability to mobilize except for emergencies, what some call the Pearl Harbor syndrome, will have become a tired cliche. More people will start rooting for something big to happen, something bad enough to shock the society out of its civic ennui. Oh, it happened.
It happened.
They didn't have
right.
to ask for it.
Nope.
The political party in power will stress the ample good news and insist that things have never been better. But the party out of power in any niche group that senses it's losing the culture wars will warn against and show signs of welcoming a catastrophe on the horizon.
Well, that was a little different, but the party, the party in power wanted, they needed to have a response, and the party outside of power just didn't agree with the response.
Right.
That's a natural progression.
But the parties in power were still very much aligned in about 98% of the things that they did. But yes, there were those.
Oh yeah, and the left sure didn't really stress that much about things like the Patriot Act.
No, that was ready to roll. That was ready to roll on September 12th, and that kind of stuff really freaks me out, to be honest with you. How quick that was all put together and all that. That's a whole conversation.
Oh yeah, they were ready to go with that.
But they were ready to go with that. They created the Patriot Act, or they had it already written. It was hundreds of pages. It was already written. They passed it just a few days later, and then they created the Department of Homeland Security, and did that as well. So they expanded the federal departments and all that pretty quickly. Yep. All right, let's see here. The late unraveling mood will feel much the opposite of the closing new frontier years of the American high. Back then, institutions were at their point of maximum strength. Whether curing poverty or landing men on the moon, the nation's grandest conceptions felt entirely achievable. Yet circa 1960, Americans in the shadow of the establishment were starting to chafe at the staleness of their culture. By the middle OOs, institutions will reach a point of maximum weakness. Individualism of maximum strength, and even the simplest public task will feel beyond the ability of government. As niche walls rise ever higher, people will complain endlessly about how bad all the other niches are. Wide chasms will separate rich from poor, whites from blacks, immigrants from native-borns, seculars from born-agains, technophiles from technophobes. America will feel more tribal. Indeed, many will be asking whether 50 states and so many dozens of ethnic cultures make sense anymore as a nation, and if they do, whether that nation has a future.
Wow,
and
that one. Oof.
That was one hell of a paragraph.
That 30 years ago, and we're still feeling all of that, if not more so right now. Yeah, more than ever. Although things are I don't know about you, but I feel like things are starting to coalesce, you know? I'm just, for some reason, I'm feeling like there's a little more optimism going on right now. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little World Cup-y.
I've got to be honest. I have completely cut myself off from social media and modern like current events. I don't watch the news. I don't get on social media anymore. So I am a really bad person to I have avoided it because it's become so upsetting and toxic in so many ways. Sure. But if that's your feeling, that's kind of exciting. You know,
I'm definitely feeling like, I mean, maybe it's because, you know, there were 5 World Cup games played in my city, but I really feel like some of that is rubbing off, and you know, people are I'll generally starting to feel happier. I think. I don't know. I don't know.
It's been nice seeing all of the World Cup tourists in our country and them having such great experience and that kind of
thing. It has been. It's nice to see people come here and have a good time and appreciate what we can offer. Yeah. And, you know, that's something that hasn't happened here in a long time. So maybe that some of that goodwill will, I don't know. I'm reaching for straws, you know, sometimes. I hope so. That's what it is. I've been shut in for 3 months and I finally got out into the world and I'm like, oh, people are still being okay.
Well, and that's the thing. What's happening out in the world is definitely different than what's happening online. And so I guess I should say that.
For sure.
I've kind of cut myself off from a lot of the online stuff and started to try and, you know, actually be in the world and talk to actual people. And with that, I will agree with you that it is not the same in the world as it is on social media, which is why I cut back the social media, because I just didn't want my, you know, my view to be skewed, I guess.
I think cutting back from, you know, 8 to 10 hours of being, or 8 to 12 hours of being online every day to like just 3 or 4 that I am now after I work, much happier for my sanity.
Right. It is. And I think this is something that's going to have to be, I don't want to say dealt with as a society, but we've got to at least have some conversations about what screens and social media and that kind of a thing and these algorithms are doing to us as people and as our culture and as a society. I mean, it's crazy. Some of the biggest comments that I get from people on my videos, especially when I'm doing something like 80s commercials or 90s movies, is just they'll say it constantly. It's like, I want to go back to this. We live in a world that no longer exists, or we grew up in a world that no longer exists, and it's just crazy how much has happened in just the last 25 years, to where it just doesn't feel like we're even in the same place. And I think that's because of social media and because of screens and smartphones.
It isn't necessarily the media itself. It's the ability to connect everywhere at any time with the devices in your pocket.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter what the platform is, whether it's social media or just being able to pick up the phone and call somebody in China, you know, it's not just call, you could FaceTime, you know, that stuff is science freaking fiction. Okay. When I was growing up, that stuff was like Dick Tracy had the watch, you know, and now my mom got an Apple Watch. My mom can do Dick Tracy stuff on her, you know, so we live in a technological future. We have to embrace it in order to move forward. Those who wallow in the nostalgia and who can't escape it will not be able to be comfortable in the current world, to their own detriment. And listen, if that's the way you want to live, that's fine. I mean, you know, I'm not really one to judge, but I look back and I see nostalgia, and the more I see nostalgia, the more I realize I liked it, I loved it, but you can't go back. You just can't. As much as you want to, you cannot. I mean, listen, I would love to be 4 years old, playing with my Fisher-Price houseboat, which, by the way, one of these days I'm going to buy again, with my Fisher-Price little people in the bathtub with my foamy, Mr. Bubbles, okay? I'd love to be outside, in front of my house on Sepulveda Avenue, playing with my Star Wars figures and my Battlestar Galactica flight deck, okay? I was 5 and 6 years old. I'm 55 years old. I can't do that anymore.
Right.
So while I sit and listen to 80s and 90s music all day long at home, when I'm out in the car, I want to listen to new stuff.
Right.
So I'm trying to find the college radios.
Yeah. And, and it's, for me, it's not even just the act of the toys, the pop culture or that kind of stuff, but it's just the human relationships. It's the way that we act as human beings. It's, you see all the studies and the polling about how people, there's no third spaces to hang out with other human beings, or the way we communicate, the way that we communicate has just completely fallen off a cliff. Kids can't read because they're relying on technology to just, summarize whatever for them. And it's that kind of stuff that's really eating at me.
So, but the thing is, we have to recognize that that's happening, and we need to learn how to navigate it.
And that's what I'm really saying.
And that's the difficult, and for us, because we do come from that older society where we didn't have this stuff at birth. It's difficult for us to parse that. I mean, my kid is a digital native. I mean, I got on his case this afternoon because I was stressing out about something, and he hasn't looked up from his phone in an hour. And I finally just yelled at him. I'm like, do you have to be on your phone 24/7? Put it down,
Right.
And he's just like, huh, what did I do? And I'm like, I didn't do anything. And I'm like, I'm just,
but those phones are their world. And that's what scares me, because
but it's mine too. That's the problem. It's mine too.
I know.
I mean, literally, my phone is my Uber Eats delivery.
Right.
And, it's how I bank on it. Now I use the Apple Pay app more than I use regular cards, at this point. If I could get rid of my wallet, I probably would.
Really?
That's where I'm at.
We're very
I don't want to
this.
have that stuff anymore. I mean, I don't even like cash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'd rather just, use my thumb to pay for everything.
Yeah. We are very different on this front, but that's okay. But I think about it. I think about I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I see. I know I'm in the minority in our cohort. I do. I know that. Us Gen Xers are kind of like Luddites to a certain extent, but I've always been an early adopter. I've always wanted the latest and greatest technology. So, as soon as I found out about CDs, I started to think about getting rid of my tapes and records. And as soon as I found out about MP3s, I started to think about the same, because for me, it's about space, not collections.
Right.
Even with comic books, I love comic books. I have 40,000 comic books now. And I have half of that number on digital, and it takes up zero space.
Right.
Whereas 40,000 comic books can take up a bedroom.
Man, what are archaeologists in a couple hundred years going to be like with our society? There's not going to be any physical relics of anything, because everything's going to be digital.
There'll still be stuff.
I know, and I'm being ridiculous, but I think about because we watch Little House on the Prairie on Wednesdays on Discord, and I think about what life was like for Laura, because Laura was born in the 1870s and she died in the 1950s, or somebody around her went from horse and buggy to space travel in their lifetime. And so it's not like, we're living through something, weird. Like, there's been technological advances for decades.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But, but still,
my grandmother was, my great grandmother was born in the 1800s, and she lived in she remembered pre-cars.
Right. But like Aaron says here, it feels the new tech is it feels problematic in a lot of ways, and the old tech didn't, but there were complaints about old tech as well, like there are with new tech. So
let me tell you, Alexander Graham Bell had to fight to get that telephone thing going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the television, holy crap, boy, do people not
radio,
really want that?
All that printing press,
radio,
all of that. Yeah.
Any new technology, practically every new technology from the wheel forward has always been, somebody has always said, no matter what that technology is bad. I mean, fire bad sometimes, you know what I mean? So, We can't just sit.
It's just good to have these conversations instead of just like letting this stuff happen. And when you see what it's done, we now have a whole generation that's grown up that has never lived without smartphones, and to see what it's done to them is just
but
we need to talk about that kind of stuff. And these are societal things.
At the same time, it's the species moving forward. It is the species evolving, and the species are always going to evolve no matter what, and we can't stop that.
That is correct.
So because it's evolved, because we are actually creating the technology that it's evolving us, we are, we're moving forward.
I think the biggest
no matter what, we're not going to like it. We don't like change. Human beings are afraid of change because it's our very nature. It's a survival instinct.
I think my biggest concern is like who controls it and the power over who controls it, and because it's all about information, really, and information is, and the exchange of that is just it's. I don't know, but I don't want to get too down into the weeds on this because we got a lot to talk about.
I mean, I just want to say I'm not advocating either. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that like technology bad, technology good. Technology is. That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
It's going to happen no matter what. If you keep an open mind and you debate and you talk about it and you work through issues with your fellow, people, then you guys can, then everyone can work with technology moving forward, and it's good to have these types of discussion. And it is scary for kids today.
And in the context of this book and what we're talking about, I think one of the things that really concerns me is the fact that older generations don't necessarily even understand the tech that's being created, and so when you don't understand it, and you're the ones in power to legislate or to make rules, and you don't even understand what it is. It's a very scary thing. I was watching the movie The Social Network not too long ago, and there's a scene in it where Zuckerberg's telling all these people in the room, all these rooms of lawyers, that I can tell you that they didn't invent Facebook because they didn't invent Facebook. They don't know how to do it. You guys don't know how to do this. You don't even know what I'm doing. So you guys can't tell me, what it is, that whether I'm right or wrong or good or bad. Or, like, you don't even understand it. You don't even know. And so that's kind of stuff that like I think about. But we're getting way too far in the weeds. I'm going to keep moving here.
Actually, we're not, because it is all part and parcel of where we're at in the book. What they're talking about for the future, because this is where we're at. This is the technological, this is the unraveling that they're talking about. This is the unraveling. It is the technology creeping into our daily lives, making us so separate from each other. That is the unraveling. That is the fourth turning right there.
That's true.
So that's how we tie it all back to it. So
I love it.
There you
Look
go.
At us being all professional.
There you go. Yeah. In the early OOs, institutions will seem hyper complex. There you go.
Yeah. Yep. There we go. Meanwhile, the unraveling era culture carnival will race along ever faster, ever more splintery and phonetic, with more jewelry and tattoos and trash talk and loud lollapaloozas. The public will plunge ever further into what Tom Peters calls the pursuit of wow, until eventually the remaining enthusiasm will be summed up into two words. Yeah, right. People young and old. Sorry, go ahead.
They're predicting TikTok right there. That is predicting TikTok.
Yep. You're right.
Tell me I'm wrong. That is that they are saying this is where this is TikTok.
Yep. No, you're right. You're right. You're exactly right.
Blipverts. Remember Max Headroom's Blipverts.
Yeah. Oh my God, Max Headroom. I love that. People young and old will puzzle over what it felt like for their parents and grandparents in a distantly remembered era to have lived in a society that felt like one national community. They will yearn to recreate this, to put America back together again. But no one will know how. This is the paragraph I wanted to read before we moved on.
Right? Right? I mean, Jesus, this is it. This is hello.
Yep.
30 years ago.
30 years ago. They wrote it.
This is what's going to happen. And we all went, And we all went,
no way.
No way. Are you sure? Are you sure?
It doesn't seem possible.
No.
As the
It's not gonna be that bad.
Yeah, sure. As the fourth turning approaches, each generation will view events from its own life cycle perspective. This is one thing I want y'all to keep in mind as we go through this. As we read this book, our perspective of this is going to be different than a boomer's perspective, a millennial's perspective, Gen Zer's perspective, because all of this has to go with your own life cycle. And that's what causes division.
And if you have, let me ask, and to the audience there, if you have another generation person in your life, I beg you, talk to them about this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Get their opinions and bring them back to us. Because I have a Gen Z in my household. And I have a boomer parent. So I get both of those. Millennial, I don't get a lot of millennial talk, although if I was more involved with my theater, which I'm going to get more involved in the theater because I'm mobile again, then I would get more millennial exposure because most of those kids are millennial. I call them kids. So, talk about this with the other cohorts.
Yes.
And because I'm really interested, like, especially I'm worried and I'm interested to see what the millennials are going to do. You know what I'm saying? Because
they're kind of the linchpin in this whole operation.
They really are, and they don't know it, and we're just kind of like waiting for them to take control because the boomers aren't going to give it to us,
right? Yeah.
Anyhow.
So I would like to hear more millennial perspective. I'm the same way. I have boomer parents and I have Gen Z nephew and niece, but I don't have a lot of millennial feedback in my life. So
no, I mean my cousins are millennials, but I'm not really that close to them. I love them, but I'm not that close to them. So, they're struggling just as bad.
Yeah, that's true. Millennials have a lot in common with us in a lot of ways. The older millennials definitely have a lot more in common with us than the younger ones do.
Yeah. Yeah. The older millennials that didn't get helicoptered quite as badly,
No. Yeah.
And that's why I would group them into to us.
That's why I group them into the Zennials, the oldest ones especially.
Yeah, but the core millennials who got helicoptered up the wazoo and got the participation trophies.
The 90s babies, yeah.
Yeah, 90s babies I do worry about.
Yeah, agreed. As the fourth turning approaches, each generation will view events from its own life cycle perspective. The silent approaching 80 will be deeply anguished. 60-ish 60-ish boomers will brood over their institutional powerlessness to impose a cleansing agenda. Broken into shards, 13ers will privately find ways of making small things work in disordered environments. Yes. The first millennials will come of age amid the adulation of elders to whom they will embody the hopes for civic renewal. I don't know about that. Boomers and millennials have been at war for about the past decade and a half. The problems of childhood now fixed, a new batch of babies will start arriving to hardly a ripple of notice. Each generation will show clear signs of changing. As each approaches the brink of its next phase of life, it will not want to behave like its next elders did. Boomers will be of no mind to carry on in other-directed self-doubting sentimentalism. The 13ers will have no desire to be argumentative and judgmental. Millennials will earnestly want to shed the cynical alienation of youth. Parents will be disinclined to make any further changes in what will now be deemed an acceptably protective style of nurture. Toward the end of the unraveling, each archetype's phase of life role reaches a point of new strain. Now we're talking about the early. We're still talking about the mid-aughts here.
Right.
So the elder artists, now appearing less flexible than indecisive, begin impeding the prophet's values agenda. The midlife prophets, which is the boomers, now filled with righteousness of conviction, grow impatient to lead society toward ever deeper spiritual conversion. The young adult nomads, which is Gen X, now tiring of an unrewarding self-sufficiency, yearn to settle down and shore up social barriers. The child heroes, the millennials, protected by adults who are fearful of their future, begin sensing a dire secular challenge at the heart of the prophet's visions. By the early 00s, when the four generational archetypes fully occupy these life cycle phases, they will be poised to assert new social roles. Their unraveling era behavior cannot and will not continue. The public mood will feel stale, used up, primed for something else. Americans will have had quite enough of glitz and roar, of celebrity circuses, of living as though there were no tomorrow. Forebodings will deepen and spiritual currents will darken. Whether we realize it or not, we will be ready for a dramatic event to shock the nation out of its complacency and decay. the fourth turning will be at hand. So,
I mean, and we still haven't even had that dramatic event yet, and that's the really, unless we have.
Oh, I would call the 2008
I don't
financial
think we
crisis that event
Yeah.
that started the fourth turning.
Yeah.
I mean, when between our generation at war for 20 years in Afghanistan and the financial crisis, and millions of people lost their homes in 2008, and our government literally bailed out the banks and left individuals to be on their own. People lost their investments, their retirement, their homes, and they literally bailed out the banks. And I think that really broke a lot of people, because then you had your Tea Party movement, and you had your Occupy Wall Street movement on both sides of the political aisle. It spurred that 2008 thing, really spurred some unhappiness on both sides of politics in 2010. And I remember that really well. The Occupy Wall Street and all that. So and the Tea Party all happened at the same time. So I would concede it's 2008. Edward the Stork.
I was at that point I was being a stay-at-home dad. So
yeah.
I was my whole life was revolving around diapers and watching kiddie shows, probably. Yeah. I was like, did it happen on Yo Gabba Gabba? I didn't know.
Right.
Who's our president? Obama? Great.
So moving on to chapter 9, fourth turnings in history. I'm not going to read this word for word, but I do want to go through and at least mention the previous fourth turnings. So here's a morphology of the crisis era. Fourth turnings have provided the great pivot points of the Anglo-American legacy. Dating back to the 15th century, there have been 6. Each produced its own crisis and its own facsimile of the halcyon spirit today's aging World War II veterans remember so vividly. From the similarity of these eras, a morphology can be constructed. A crisis era begins with a catalyst, a startling event or sequence of events that produces a sudden shift in mood. And that's what I would say 2008 is. It shifted the mood.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think there could conceivably be an argument for 9/11 being that catalyst, but I think that was too early.
Yeah. It was like a pre-catalyst. It was the
precursor.
The precursor. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was super, super critical in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But everywhere else in the world besides the United States and the Middle East, they were like, well, welcome to the club,
Right. Yeah. So, that was a.
And what are y'all doing?
Yeah. Oh man, God. that day still gives me. I'm gonna have a whole live stream that day because it's been 25 years. But
25
it's amazing.
Years,
it's amazing how like a lot of us have forgotten from our cultural conversation and our memories as a country. Which I don't know. It's wild to me that in just 25 years, it seems.
Well, I mean, you have entire adult populations now who weren't alive.
I know.
So, or who don't remember it. So, that's an entire cohort now. So that's our next turning.
Right.
And that's, that the events will always fade, but they will never fade away.
Right.
Just like I think people probably said the same thing about Pearl Harbor. We don't really we don't remember Pearl Harbor as much, in the 60s or 70s. But we do.
Not anymore, but we definitely did that.
And I guarantee you, and every 9/11, there's always, every 9/11, there is always a memorial service. I know there'll be a huge one this year, I'm sure.
Yes.
So.
Right.
But
it was definitely a precursor to 2008.
Yeah.
It just happened.
I'm sure no one anyone living in New York, anyone who was alive and more than a child remembers exactly where they were and what they were doing when they found out.
100%.
Everyone.
I watched it. Yeah, I watched it happen live, and we all. I mean, so many of us did.
Yeah.
I was watching the Today Show. And,
I mean, that's it. That is literally a where were you when the moon landing happened? Where were you when the space shuttle crashed?
Yep.
You know, where were you on 9/11?
100%.
Yeah.
So a crisis era begins with the catalyst. So the crisis era begins with the catalyst shifting the mood, which we could say is around 08.
08, yeah.
Once catalyzed, a society achieves a regeneracy, a new counter entropy that reunifies and re-energizes civic life.
Well, it tried to.
Yeah, they tried to, and I would definitely say during the Obama presidency that there was some of that.
Yeah.
But there was still the crisis catalyst, so there was still a lot of unrest with, like I said, Occupy and Tea Party.
Yeah, and there was a lot of civic pride from the left, which went away in 2016 and came back a little bit in 2020, but not quite as much.
Right. But yeah, that's about when we really split and started to really chasm with the parties. Was around this time.
Yeah, but let's
around
not
2010
go
and
there,
2012. Yeah.
As fascinating as that is.
But yep, that's what happened. The regenerated society propels towards a climax, a crucial moment that confirms the death of the old order and birth of the new. That to me is what we're waiting for. Is the climax.
The climax.
Because
we're waiting for the orgasm.
We're waiting for the orgasm of the fourth turning.
Let's hope it's a good one, right? Let's hope it's not a premature one. Let's see how far can we take this joke.
The climax culminates in a resolution, a triumphant.
Well, that's a new baby, right?
Conclusion. Exactly. That separates.
The climax results in a kid. What?
It's a triumphant or tragic conclusion that separates the winners from losers, resolves the big public questions, and establishes the new order.
New world order.
That's what I think we're in for over the next 4 years.
Definitely. It's going to be a lot. I think the next couple of years are going to be real interesting.
Yes, agreed.
The midterms are starting to shape up to be real interesting.
Yeah. And the thing is,
I'm not going into politics, but boy, there's some fun. It's like what's going on? It's a spin the daily wheel of things you never thought would happen.
Right. Which is the reason that I have kind of checked out from news and stuff. Because the day to day,
Bernie's Mitch McConnell. What?
Yeah, the day to day will drive you nuts. Like I just need a 30,000 foot overview once a week or whatever, you know, but I don't, our news cycles have gotten to the point where it's just like, I cannot do it. But yeah, we're in the final countdown, Edward, the store. I would agree with that. We're there.
Countdown. Name that band. Name the band.
Europe.
You don't know the band?
Europe.
Who sang that song? Europe. Thank you.
Europe. Absolutely. This crisis,
you know your hair metal. You should know your hair metal.
This crisis morphology occurs over the span of one turning, which, except for the U.S. Civil War, means that around 15 to 25 years elapse between the catalyst and the resolution. So that's why 2028 to 2032 is literally the 20 to 25 years since 08. So that's why Howe has put 08 as the start. The regeneracy usually occurs 1 to 5 years after the era begins. The climax 1 to 5 years before it ends. So we're looking at the climax and the regeneracy all in the next 4 to 8 years, according to their theory.
Oh, isn't it fun to be alive?
Yay!
Look what we have to look forward to.
Yep. So every fourth turning starts with the catalyst event that terminates the mood of the unraveling and unleashes the one of the crisis. So,
it'd be good if we could figure out, if you want to give us some, if we could figure out, what were those other, what are just quick examples of those other catalysts and stuff like that. But we don't need to go that.
I
think that's what they talk about.
Yeah. And it can be, and it doesn't even have to be political necessarily. It can be, it can be other things. Like I would say because a financial crisis happened at the same time the iPhone was introduced. So to me, those two things are very
entwined,
intertwined as far as how
definitely.
the fourth turning begins, because of that. And, we have AI and stuff like that. So there's different things that have happened over the last way. And we're going to get into what these things that they say are going to happen for the crisis. So we need to get
I like
there.
the 6 prior turnings. They were all the Wars of the Roses, wars, Armada Crisis, war, Glorious Revolution. Well, okay, that one wasn't so much a war, but kind of was. American Revolution, that was big wars. Civil War, kind of a big one. Great Depression and World War II. That was a big one too. So we had war, war. War. So,
it's
not war. I hope it's not war. Let's go back to the Glorious Revolution one. That one wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. I mean, it was just plagues and
So if you I'm like I said, I'm not going to read this chapter, but if you want more details about the mechanics of a fourth turning, chapter 9 is the place to get that. And
if you are a historian, or if you even like any of that, it's a great little update your history knowledge, because it's good stuff.
And they really dive into it in the fourth turning is here. They dive into all of these in detail. And so we're, like I said, we're not going to be reading that whole book, but because it is very history heavy, because it's showing you how each one worked before this one, and all of the similarities that they have. So these are your
people are like, we're skeptical, show your work, and they were like, hold my beer.
All right, here we go. All right.
Hey, that was a meme. Did you like that? I'm trying to appeal to the millennials.
You're on one tonight, Grendelson.
I'm always on one. Haven't you figured that out?
That's true. You are always on one. All right, guys.
Well, I mean, also, like I said, I'm in a better place because I'm out and about, and I spent all day out making money and drove all over the freaking city. It was great. I ended up downtown. I ended up in the valley. I mean, oof. It is. It's hard to separate the politics. It really is.
It is.
But we can.
But we got to.
Yeah, because we're not going to get into a fight. I don't want to.
Nope, I don't want to either. So fourth turning is an archetypes. If the spirit of America is poised for a revival, a full seculum after its last appearance, we should ask why, how. What is it that causes a society to ignite into conflagrations? The key lies in the ingredients of the catalyst. In chemistry, a catalytic agent is a reaction enabler, an ingredient that lowers the energy threshold required to produce a chain reaction. Imagine a test tube full of chemicals whose mass, temperature, and pressure remain constant, or perhaps are rising gradually, but which cannot alone produce an explosion no matter how often you stick a flame into it. For that, there must be a slight change in chemical composition, something that combined with those other variables can lower the energy threshold for ignition. History leaves no doubt about the reaction enabler of a crisis, the fourth turning constellation of generational archetypes. Once every seculum, the archetypes reach a combustible combination, dramatically lowering the threshold for a spark of history to ignite a crisis. Since the dawn of the modern world, there have been but one fourth turning constellation: elder prophets, which are boomers, midlife nomads, Gen X, young adult heroes, millennials, and child artists, Gen Z. For half a millennium, that constellation has recurred exactly the same way, 5 times, and a 6th time with a slight variation in timing and consequence. This archetypal lineup has been one of the great constants of Anglo-American history. The indulged prophet, children of highs, again the boomers, born in the aftermath of one crisis, foment the next crisis upon entering elderhood. The abandoned nomad children of awakenings become the pragmatic midlife managers of crisis. The protected hero children of unravelings provide the powerful young adult soldiers of crisis. The suffocated children of crisis come of age afterward as artist youths. All right. Except for nomads and heroes during the Civil War, every prior crisis era witnessed each generational archetype entering the following phase of life: prophets into elderhood, nomads in midlife, heroes in young adulthood, and artists into childhood. I will let y'all go into the history of all that. We are going to get into their we're going to get into the chapter that blows your mind because yeah.
Edward,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But before we get into that, I did just briefly touch on Edward had a great question. And then actually also Dan's discourse had a really interesting comment. Dan said, I want to propose something. I think the climax stage began with Trump's reelection. I think that is very much a possibility myself. I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
I think certainly, again, putting the politics of it aside,
yes.
I think the second time a former president has been reelected after sitting out a term, I think it's definitely a historical marker. It's only happened one other time.
Right.
Agreed. And that was a pretty big deal as well. So historically, yes, it could be. We don't know. Time will tell. I think that is probably a pretty good indicator, is that that might have been the beginning of the climax, but it's going to be difficult to tell.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on that one.
No, and I think you're right, because it shows the shifting electorate. It's showing how it's going back and forth, and things are
very much in the wind.
Yeah.
And whatever way the wind is blowing on election day might be the, the catalyst,
Right. And that's the thing.
And we don't know what's going to happen between now and election day, I mean, Lord knows something weird could happen and change everything.
I mean, it's hard to predict anything these days I mean, things change from minute to minute at this point. So, but no, I think that's, I think Dan is probably spot on with that. I mean, and again, politics aside, there's no doubt that the election of Trump, even in 2016, and then again in 2024, are part of this. Because and it's not just him as the man.
Not discounting that.
It's how the electorate responded to him, and why did they vote him in, and why and why did they vote him out and back in, and all of that stuff. And again, we don't need to get into the details about that, but yes, I think all of those things are definitely a part of this. And I think that Dan has a good point. The climax stage.
I mean, reading the books on how and why Trump got elected are going to be fascinating reading in the future, because it is a fascinating story of one of the most unbelievable things that has ever happened in politics. Let's just say that.
And it's changed our politics, because
it changed the entire conversation.
It changed how our politics operate. It changed how the parties operate. It changed a lot of things, and but also that's part of how they're talking about how these things switch over into the new order, from the old order to the new.
That's a common thread.
Yes.
This happens. This is what is happening. This is why it's happening.
It would have happened without Trump. It could have been somebody else. It could have been, it just happened to be him this time. But
no, absolutely. It just happened. You could plug any number, it's politician B, politician C. Doesn't matter the person. This is what's, plug anybody in there.
Exactly.
Edward's comment was, I wonder if Gen X has been the catalyst for most of history. I'm assuming he's saying most of our history. That's a good question too. I don't want to get too into the weeds on that one. I'm of the opinion right now that unfortunately our generation hasn't really had a lot of historical makers. So I think that our mark will be made going forward, but I don't think that we have made any historical mark other than how we have been treated by other generations.
I will push back on you for just a minute. In government, I would agree with you 100%. In business, I would completely disagree with you, because it was the PayPal mafia, the Peter Thiel, the Elon Musk, all the people that created the PayPal, the eBay, the Google, all of those guys are all Gen X. All of these platforms and all of these websites and all of these things that are part of our lives now. Our generation was very, very heavily involved in all of that. So, I would.
I guess I'm still, in of the mindset of the the culture side of it is not quite as important as the
right.
historical side of it, but I definitely understand what you're saying, and the culture side of it is just as important as we look at, the turnings themselves. So I definitely see what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. All right. The fourth turning is when the spirit of America reappears, rousing courage and fortitude from the people. Another crisis era is coming in soon. With history as our guide, there is much that we can foresee about what may happen. You guys ready to have your brain just completely broken? Let's do it.
It's coming.
A prophecy.
It's coming.
All right. Now remember, this was written in 1997 with all of their theories being put to the test as to what they think was going to happen. A fourth turning prophecy. This is chapter 10. We're just going to start, and we probably won't get through all of it tonight. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But are we ready?
Ready to have your brain always broken? Ready.
I know.
My brain's been broken.
All right.
I need to use that Japanese gold stuff to fix it.
This is the culmination of all that we've been reading since the beginning of the year, from generations unto the fourth turning and all that. This is it. This is it, guys. Here we go.
So take notes, because there'll be a quiz.
Yes.
Don't we need to give them we should maybe, before we do this, do the book giveaway stuff, or do you want to do that later?
We can do that right now.
I think that would be good, because maybe people need a
quick break,
before we go into this.
Yes. Real quick. This fall we will be reading What Happened to Your Hair by Matthew and Gunnar Nelson. It is a Gen X autobiography. I would consider it the best Gen X autobiography I've ever read. Every chapter is better than the previous. I was reading it earlier today, and the chapter had me in tears. It was so good. So, this is what we're reading this fall. If you would like to be a part of the book club this fall and have your own copy like this, win your own copy, I'm giving away 5 copies. So all you have to do is put this following word or phrase into the chat, or you can put it into the comments of the replay. This week's word is gunner. And it can be spelled with an A or an E, either way. Gunner is the word of the week. And put that word into the chat or into the comments, and you will be registered to win a copy of What Happened to Your Hair by Matthew and Gunnar Nelson. So
one more time, the secret password is Gunner.
Gunner.
Once again, it is the password is Gunner. We will say it one more time, and then we shall never speak of it again. Gunner.
There you go. Very good. So yeah,
I want to read the new Moon Unit has an autobiography out.
Does she?
In 2024. Yeah, because I was just watching Valley Girl the other day. Because
good one.
Both the movie and the video, but
Gen X biographies and autobiographies are definitely something that I would like to dive into next year. If I can keep book club going. So
we can keep good book club going. Yeah. Gunner, you hardly knew her.
You guys, you silly. All right. Ready to have our minds blown?
Are you ready? Ready.
I hope you have your beverage in hand or your smoke in hand or something, because we're going to have a good conversation here.
Like, oh my God.
Here we go. A fourth turning prophecy, written in 1997 by William Strauss and Neil Howe. Sometime around the year 2005, perhaps a few years before or after, America will enter the fourth turning. In the middle 00s, America will be a very different society than in the late 1920s, when the last crisis catalyzed. The nation will be more affluent, enjoy better health, possess more technology, encompass a larger and more diverse population, and command more powerful weapons. But the same could be said about every other unraveling era society compared to its predecessor. They were not exempt from the seculum, nor will we be. A spark will ignite a new mood. Today, the same spark would flame briefly, but then extinguish, its last flicker merely confirming and deepening the unraveling era mindset. This time, though, it will catalyze a crisis. In retrospect, the spark might seem as ominous as a financial crash, as ordinary as a national election, 2008, or as trivial as a tea party. It could be a rapid succession of small events in which the ominous, the ordinary, and the trivial are commingled. Recall that a crisis catalyst involves scenarios distinctly imaginable 8 or 10 years in advance. Based on recent unraveling era trends, the following circa 2005 scenarios might seem plausible. Here we go.
Ooh, let me read this part.
Okay, go for it.
Can I read this part? Okay, cool.
Go for it.
I'm going to do it in my... Beset by a fiscal crisis, a state lays claim to its residents' federal tax monies, declaring this an act of secession. The president obtains a federal injunction. The governor refuses to back down. Federal marshals enforce the court order. Similar tax rebellions spring up in other states. Treasury bill auctions are suspended. Militia violence breaks out. Cyber terrorists destroy IRS databases. U.S. special forces are put on alert. Demands issue for a new constitutional convention.
So that's a possibility. So there's number one. Here's another one.
A global terrorist group blows up an aircraft and announces it possesses portable nuclear weapons. The United States and its allies launch a preemptive strike. The terrorists threaten to retaliate against an American city. Congress declares war and authorizes unlimited house-to-house searches. Opponents charge that the president concocted the emergency for political purposes. A nationwide strike is declared. Foreign capital flees the U.S.
All right.
Or
here's another possibility.
An impasse over the federal budget reaches a stalemate. The president and Congress both refuse to back down, triggering a near total governmental shutdown. The president declares emergency powers. Congress rescinds his authority. Dollar and bond prices plummet. The president threatens to stop Social Security checks. Congress refuses to raise the debt ceiling. Default looms. Wall Street panics. Didn't we have that one happen? That one happened.
Yep, that one happened in 2008.
Yeah, that happened.
Oh, yep. Here comes the good one. Ready?
Now. Oh.
All right. Here's another possibility. Ready, Grendelson? Go for it.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced the spread of a new communicable virus. The disease reaches densely populated areas, killing some. Congress enacts mandatory quarantine measures. The president orders the National Guard to throw prophylactic condoms around unsafe neighborhoods.
Cordons, not condoms.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Mayors resist. Urban gangs battle suburban militias. Calls mount for the president to declare martial law. Yeah, that happened. I remember that. That was 2020, right?
Yeah.
And finally. Growing anarchy throughout the former Soviet republics prompt Russia to conduct training exercises around its borders. Lithuania erupts in a civil war. The Ukraine. Negotiations break down. U.S. diplomats are captured and publicly taunted. The president airlifts troops to rescue them and orders ships into the Black Sea or the Strait of Hormuz. Iran declares its alliance with Russia. Gold and oil prices soar. The Congress debates restoring the draft.
Again, they were just spitballing. Interesting spitballing, and it gets we get even closer.
2.5 out of 5. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and we're not even. And there's a possibility that some of this,
the other two still could happen.
Exactly, the other two could still happen. All right, here we go. I'll take the next paragraph.
It
is highly unlikely that any one of these scenarios will actually happen. What is likely, however, is that the catalyst will unfold according to a basic crisis dynamic that underlies all of these scenarios. An initial spark will trigger a chain reaction of unyielding responses and further emergencies. The core elements of these scenarios, debt, civic, decay, global order, will matter more than the details, which the catalyst will juxtapose and connect in some unknowable way. If foreign societies are also entering a fourth turning, this could accelerate the chain reaction. At home and abroad, these events will reflect the tearing of the civic fabric at points of extreme vulnerability, problem areas where, during the unraveling, America will have neglected, denied, or delayed needed action. Anger at mistakes we made will translate into calls for action. regardless of the heightened public risk. It is unlikely that the catalyst will worsen into a full-fledged catastrophe, since the nation will probably find a way to avert the initial danger and stabilize the situation for a while. The local rebellions will probably be quelled, terrorists foiled, fiscal crisis averted, disease halted, or war fever cooled. Yet even if dire consequences are temporarily averted, America will have entered the fourth turning. The new mood, the new mood and its jarring new problems will provide a natural endpoint for the unraveling era decline in civic confidence. In the pre-crisis years, fears about the flimsiness of the social contract will have been subliminal but rising. As the crisis catalyzes, these fears will rush to the surface, jagged and exposed. Distrustful of some things, individuals will feel that their survival requires them to distrust more things. This behavior could cascade into a sudden downward spiral, an implosion of societal trust. How y'all feeling out there?
IXO, I can't say that, but 1071 says, it's easy to make a prediction that it will go insane and the people will break everything. It's a safe bet. Yeah, it wasn't that easy in 1997 though.
Yeah, and don't
forget, we were like in 97 we were like, hey, new millennium, things will be great.
Yeah, 97 was a great year. It was a fun year.
It was an optimistic time, and so
you would have told me when I was 20 years old, which I was 20 years old in 1997, if you would have told me then that we could have a virus that would shut things down and quarantine and all that stuff, and all of these financial crises and how just the implosion of societal trust, just how all of this stuff, I would have never believed you. That was not the world that we lived in back then. I mean, sure, it's easy to go.
It was possible, but it was
like
not
this.
Probable to you at
right.
that point. Yeah. You would never say, oh, I don't believe that's ever going to happen, but yeah.
Right.
You couldn't necessarily see all of it happening. No, of course not.
Gotcha.
You don't know. I couldn't see all of that happening either. I mean, no one can really see 9/11 happening. You hope that something like that doesn't happen, but no one could see that really happening and really making, really being, in some ways the start of the unraveling, right. The precursor to the unraveling.
Yeah. I mean, again, I call pre 9/11 the before times. It was a different world. Yeah. It was a different mood. It was a different everything. And sure, you can predict and say, oh, things are going to get bad. It's an easy prediction to make. But as we get to this chapter, you're going to see that it wasn't just general predictions. They nailed the timing, and a lot of these nailed the exact thing that would happen. So
that's the scary part.
Yeah.
I mean, they said they gave us 5 scenarios just about.
Yeah.
5 scenarios happened.
Yeah.
They said it's unlikely any of these will happen.
Yeah.
2.5 of them happened.
Yep. I mean, they called Ukraine. They called COVID.
Yeah.
They called
the
2008 financial crisis. Yeah. Yeah. And even the global terrorist thing. I mean, you could say 9/11. I mean, it just happened at a weird time.
So 2.5 to 3 of these they got right.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take 2 of them they got half right. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were at least in the ballpark. They were at least in the ballpark. All right. So we got the implosion of societal trust. If so, this implosion will strike financial markets, and with that, the economy. Aggressive individualism, institutional decay, and long-term pessimism can proceed only so far before a society loses the level of dependability needed to sustain the division of labor and long-term promises on which a market economy must rest. Through the unraveling, people will have preferred, or at least tolerated, the exciting if bewildering trend toward social complexity. But as the crisis mood congeals, people will come to the jarring realization that they have grown helplessly dependent on a teetering edifice of anonymous transactions and paper guarantees. Many Americans won't know where their savings are, who their employer is, what their pension is, or how their government works. The era will have left the financial world arbitrage and tentacled. Debtors
What's a pension?
Debtors won't know who holds their notes, homeowners who owns their mortgages, and shareholders who runs their equities, and vice versa. Oh my God.
Bingo.
This is a big one. Our society
exactly.
has become so complex that it freaks me out that all my money in my bank account is in this digital thing where like I could wake up one day and it could say 0. And what do you do?
And it's gone.
What's a pension? Exactly. Yeah, like it's just that this is one thing that I don't think gets talked about enough is just the complexity of our world. And yeah, you don't know where things come from anymore. You don't know how to take care. I mean, like I had no power for 24 hours and oh my God, that was awful. That was awful.
Y'all don't have a survival kit?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do, but I have a 75-year-old father on chemotherapy.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's my issue.
Make sure you get make sure you, now is the time to make sure that you're prepared for the next one.
Yes.
And definitely. You're right. I mean, I don't have nearly enough survival stuff. It used to. My ex-Mormon in-laws gave us a bunch of stuff when we were first married, but that was 20 years ago.
Right. I mean, we have, I'm not a prepper, but I do have a mind of saving and having food storage and having things like that. And all that stuff was good, but it was the factors like, caretaking the elderly and your pets and your things like that. And it's like, it was just, but, and again, we're very dependent on things that I can't here, for instance, I make my living on YouTube as a YouTuber.
Yeah, you were done.
I
couldn't
get
do anything.
No, and I get my money from Google. How do I? Right. It shows up in my bank account once a month. But if anything were to happen with that, if for some reason 1 month it didn't, I wouldn't even know who to call to get it worked out. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's
I do.
It's that kind of a thing that really freaks me out as far as just like things are so complex that it just, you don't know where anything comes from anymore or who to trust or what to do. We got a super chat from Crouching Taylor Hidden Swift, $5. Thank you so much. Politicians govern tech based on 2001 and Forbidden Planet. Third party Swift for 28. If Trump is Thanos, then Swift is Dr. Doom. Swifty Von Doom. You're funny. Oh, I have a feeling you're going to write in Taylor Swift's name on your 2028 ballot, no matter what.
Hey, man, I'd vote for her.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the $5, Crouching Taylor Hidden Swift.
I guess did you get an invite to her wedding, Crouching Taylor?
Oh yeah, she got married, didn't she? They got married. Has it happened already? Okay, I didn't know what.
Oh yeah, it happened like last weekend or something. It was all hush hush, but then it was all over everybody. And everyone knew it. They got married in Madison Square Garden.
Of course. Oh my God. Of course they did. Of course they did. But anyways.
And there's controversy.
Yeah. Thank you for that $5. Appreciate it very much. At about the same time, each generation's approach to its new phase of life will set off loud economic alarms, reminding people how weakly their unraveling era nation prepared for the future. The boomers' old age will loom, exposing the thinness in private savings and the unsustainability of public promises. The 13ers will reach their make-or-break peak earning years, realizing at last they can't all be lucky, exceptions to their stagnating average income. Millennials will come of age facing debts, tax burdens, and two-tier wage structures that older generations will now declare intolerable. As all these generations enter their crisis constellation, the unraveling will have left the government so fiscally overcommitted to sustaining everyone's expectations that initial official response to these new concerns will lack credibility. Subliminal fears will now become urgent. The unraveling era's wry acceptance that people might never get much back from Social Security will crystallize into a jolting new fear that everything from treasury bills to remortgage instruments to mutual funds could become just as suspect. At some point, which they did. At some point, America's short-term crisis psychology will catch up to the long-term post-unraveling fundamentals. This might result in a great devaluation, a severe drop in the market price of most financial and real assets. This devaluation can be a short but horrific panic, a free-falling price in a market with no buyers, or it could be a series of downward ratchets linked to political events that sequentially knock the supports out from under the residual popular trust in the system. As assets devalue, trust will further disintegrate, which will cause assets to devalue further, and so on. Every slide in asset prices, employment, and production will give every generation cause to grow more alarmed. With savings worth less, the new elders will become more dependent on government, just as government becomes less able to pay benefits to them. With taxes hiked, the new midlifers will get to pocket even less of their peak year incomes. With job offers dwindling, the new youth will face even taller barricades against their future. I feel like they're on top of it right here. I mean, I don't even understand the financial system anymore. I used to have some understanding of how things worked, but we're at this point, we're 40 trillion in debt. The market's at like 50K or 40K or whatever. And the dollar is, who knows?
And yet so we're confusing. Still better off than Japan right now.
I know, like
because the yen is in a free fall.
This is where I think that the old order really will come apart. If I had to predict what the big climax is of this fourth turning, instead of a war, I would say a collapse of the monetary system. And since everything is linked to the petrodollar, the American dollar, in world currency, that to me is where it could really hit. Now, do I have any thing to back that up other than my own readings and my own understanding of history? No, I don't. This is just me making, but if it's not a war, which I hope it's not a war, my guess would be something economic. I could be wrong, but with the 40 trillion debt and the dollar and the income gaps and it's just all such a mess. Yeah. So
I mean, the debt worries me the least, to be quite honest.
Really?
No, I've never really worried about the debt because it's not the same type of debt that a regular person has. You know, it's a completely different type of debt. It makes you more beholden to foreign interests.
Right.
But
that's my thing. But it's basically the value of the dollar. What even is a dollar anymore? And
yeah, well, that's not controlled by the
inflation.
Debt.
Well, yeah. I know, and I'm talking more about monetary policy. Like we have,
right.
1971 was the last time we switched onto a new monetary system, which was Bretton Woods 2. Monetary systems usually only last about 50 to 60 years, and then they're spent so much and inflated so much that it causes them to collapse, and you have to start over again. And that's where kind of I think we are. Between the inflation, prices being so high, homes being so expensive, what we've done with the dollar and all of that is where I think it could really disintegrate. I think they're probably going to try to move us into digital currency instead of the dollar. And again, in the Federal Reserve, this is stuff that's way above my pay grade when it comes to my knowledge. But but again, that's scary though, because the people that are in charge of all of that, I don't know. They have this power to do some crazy things, and how it's going to affect pensions, how it's going to affect investment accounts, your wages, costs of things. That's where I get nervous. Let's see. If you spent $1 million a year since Jesus was born, we would only be 1% of our debt. And that's the thing, like all this money that goes to Washington.
Like Elon Musk could just write a check and wipe it out, you know?
For what?
The debt.
Oh, no, he couldn't. No, he
theoretically, he could. He's a trillionaire.
Yeah, but our debt is $40 trillion.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Well,
no. Any kind of.
I mean, when it gets to that point, it's just like you're not even talking about real dollars.
That's the thing. It's almost impossible to comprehend. Our brains can't really even comprehend this kind of level of what we're talking about. And I guess my biggest concern is like all the tax money, all the money that we send to Washington, all the stuff that's spent everywhere, it's become this behemoth that nobody can control. It's rampant with fraud. And so, like, what do you do? What do you do with all of that?
Let's go back to the barter system.
Yeah, let's do it. I like it.
Anarchy.
Crypto being completely trackable, which freaks me out. Yeah, it's weird, and I don't even understand crypto. That's the thing. I hate when we get into stuff that I don't understand.
I understood it. I said, nope, I got it. I wasn't gonna,
Yeah.
If I could have gotten in early, I would have. But it was the ability to get into crypto early was too daunting. And
I had an opportunity to buy Bitcoin at like, it was like $1. It was less than $1. It was really cheap. It was back in like 2012 or 2013. I don't remember, whenever it started. But anyways, not to get into that. But yeah, parallel economy, that's true. But yeah, I think
the euro certainly isn't helping.
No. And and all of that, it's all of this stuff just is so wild and so massive and so big. To me, something happening in this realm is what could, other than a war, that could be some kind of climactic event in all of this. But anyway, let's keep moving.
Yeah, I hope it's not a war.
I hope it's not a war.
Then again, I hope it's not economic. I hope it's not
right.
Like, what do you hope it is? I mean, cultural, I guess, because that's the least offensive and the least that's going to hurt people.
Right.
If it's biological, if it's another pandemic, we're screwed.
Right.
We're not ready for another pandemic by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
We're not ready for we're probably more ready for a war than anything else.
Yeah.
Really.
Definitely.
We're always ready for a good war. We're always ready to be attacked.
Right.
So.
But, again, elephant in the room here. We're almost at war with ourselves, not anybody else.
I know.
There's a conflict amongst our own population about, again, what America is and what we should be.
Well, it's because we're trying to the worst thing is we could try and manufacture an enemy that doesn't exist.
Right. There's no need to. We are at war with ourselves at this point, and our own, our own history, our own laws, our own culture, our own, everything. And we're kind of having a reckoning as a country, as and that, to me, and economics, I think, will be involved with that. But that's why I'm so afraid of a war, is I don't think it's a war with an outside enemy. I think it's a war within ourselves.
I agree.
And that's the scary part. So let's go.
I'm also hoping that it's all that we are actually past the worst of it, and things are going to get better. But that's just cross-eyed optimism.
It's optimism. I hope you're right. I don't think so, though.
I don't either.
Yeah. Before long, America's old civic order will seem ruined beyond repair. People will feel like a magnet has passed over society's disk drive, blanking out the social contract, wiping out old deals, clearing the books of vast unpayable promises to which people had once felt entitled. The economy could reach a trough that may look to be the start of a depression. With American weaknesses newly exposed, foreign dangers could erupt. From this trough and from these dangers, the makings of a new social contract and new civic order will arise. In the initial jerry-built stages, people will not be entitled but authorized to receive whatever they get from government. This will lead to conflict as people do battle to establish where, how, and by whom this authority is to be exercised. This battle could be peaceful, involving political processes, or violent, involving public and private militias. Public needs will assume a new shape and urgency. Old political alliances will be broken and new ones forged, and debates will commence on laws that radically shift the balance between individual rights and duties. National issues will break clear of the unraveling era circus and cast a clear and immediate shadow over the everyday shape of American life. The unraveling era culture warriors will no longer be attacking national institutions, mostly from the outside. Come the fourth turning, they will be fully in charge. Soon after the catalyst, a national election will produce a sweeping political realignment as one faction or coalition capitalizes on a new public demand for decisive action. Republicans, Democrats, or perhaps a new party will decisively win the long partisan tug of war, ending the era of split government that had lasted through 4 decades of unawakening and unraveling. That's where I think we're at this point. I think this is what comes next. The question is, which side prevails? The winners will now have the power to pursue the more potent, less incrementalist agenda about which they had long dreamed and against which their adversaries had darkly warned. This new regime will enthrone itself for the duration of the crisis. Regardless of its ideology, that new leadership will assert public authority and demand private sacrifice. Where leaders had once been inclined to alleviate societal pressures, they will now aggravate them to command the nation's attention. The regeneracy will be solidly underway. In foreign affairs, America's initial fourth-turning instinct will be to look away from other countries and focus total energy on the domestic birth of a new order. Later, provoked by real or imagined outside provocations, the society will turn newly martial. America will become more isolationist than today in its unwillingness to coordinate its affairs with other countries, but less isolationist in its insistence that the vital national interests not be compromised. The crisis mood will dim expectations that multilateral diplomacy and expanding global democracy can keep the world out of trouble. Even before any conflicts arise, people will feel less anxiety over the prospect of casualties. Old unraveling era strategies, flexibility, stealth, elite expertise, standoff weaponry, and surgical goals will be replaced by the new crisis era strategies: mass intimidation, universal conscription, frontal assault, and total victory, more suitable to a fight for civic survival. By then, people will look back on the unraveling as a time when America evolved from a post-war to a pre-war era. The economy will in time recover from its early and, I don't know this word.
I don't know that word either.
Vertiginous reversals. I feel like I have a good vocabulary.
Look it up. What the hell does that mean?
All right, we're looking it up. Hold on.
Yes, we're going to use our college degrees.
Vertiginous means causing, relating to, or experiencing a dizzying, whirling, or spinning sensation. Vertigiousness, like vertigo. Vertigiousness, causing a dizzying, whirling, or spinning sensation.
That makes sense.
Yeah, vertigiousness. I learned a new word.
Yay, new word.
Yay, the economy will in time recover from its early and vertiginous reversals. Late in the crisis, with trust and hope and urgency growing fast, it may even achieve unprecedented levels of efficiency and production. But by then, the economy will have changed fundamentally. Compared to today, it will be less globally dependent with smaller cross-border trade and capital flows. Its businesses will be more cartelized and its workers more unionized, perhaps under the shadow of overt government direction. And it will devote a much larger share of its income to saving and investing. Fourth-turning America will begin to lay out the next seculum's infrastructure grid. Some higher-tech facsimile of turnpikes, railroads, or highways. The economic role of government will shift towards far more spending on survival and future promises, defense and public works, and far less on amenities and past promises, elder care, and debt service. The organization of both business and government will be simpler and more centralized, with fewer administrative layers, fewer job titles, and fewer types of goods and services transacted. Whew, I'm getting a little... yeah, data centers, that's a good one. Globalism is already
definitely,
being definitely.
Certain jobs are going away. They're being, people are losing jobs because everything is becoming much more centralized.
Yep.
And newer sector jobs are not being created fast enough, and infrastructure, more importantly, is not being updated fast enough.
Yeah.
If we put more money, like they're saying, if we put more money into technological advancing infrastructure, not just but smart roads, what we're talking about, higher tech systems of moving people back and forth,
right?
That kind of stuff would definitely increase our economy and move us into a first turning.
Right.
We don't do that.
We
don't do that now.
Right. No.
We're trying.
Here's the thing.
Every time we try to get like a light rail system going, or fast bullet train going. People just say it doesn't work, but it does. It works other places.
I mean, yes. I mean, I guess it could. It just kind of depends on how you go about it.
Yeah.
You know, my I've lost my train of thought. I had something and I lost it. It's okay. It happens.
Apologize. I just got off on one there for a second.
Oh, here it is. Going to the whole. I think our whole lives, our economy has been a globalist economy. Jobs go overseas and go over there, and there's been no focus on America as a country, and as we're an economic zone, not a country where people need jobs, and we need to improve our infrastructure, and we need to do this, that, and other for our country and for our citizens. That has never been the priority in our whole lifetime, because globalization became the thing. I would love to see a focus back on our own country, and if high-speed rail is something that would be great for your area, then great. But we can't be part of this globalist economy and get stuff done in Southern California. Have that prioritize, like, it doesn't work. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if
I see your point, because it's the more because I do have that left coast, the West Coast kind of, we are definitely more a part of the international economy than flyover states, which don't have as much interaction.
None.
I understand that. None. I know. I get it. So, I don't know what the answer is. I don't have the answer to that. I empathize with the situation. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what's going to revitalize, the Midwest.
Or any of the others. I mean,
any of the other non-coastal areas. I don't know.
Well, and this is the problem of, we're so large. We're 50 different states, but yet we have this one federal government that is
not only
global works for the country, but so many people get left out of that.
I mean, some of our states are also, multiple, listen, California is really 3 to 6 different states wrapped into one, depending on where you live.
Right.
Whereas we're so damn big. I would suggest probably Texas is the same way. Alaska, well, there's not as many people. But I mean, it's not just 50 states, which is 400 different congressional communities.
Right.
It's it's crazy how segmentalized we really, really are.
Right.
You're right. And I apologize for flyover. Again, West Coast bias. I apologize.
Here's the thing.
I don't mean anything negative by it. I really don't. But I can understand people not liking it, so I will try to.
And here's the thing. Before our economic theories and policy went global, we had a country where we had fashion districts in New York and LA. We had furniture districts in the Southeast. We had manufacturing of all different kinds of products throughout all of the Midwest. We're making cars in Detroit, and we're doing all these things. All these different states had all these economies based on producing goods and services.
True.
And
yes.
It was based on America. It was American suppliers, products, workers, and buyers. And then once that became not the norm, once we went global and said we want people in China and Taiwan to work these jobs and not the people in Missouri or North Carolina or Florida or wherever, like, once we shifted our focus to the global economy and we became an economic zone, then it became a whole thing of, well, we don't have to focus on each state and each region's assets and their all the things that they can do, all of the different resources that each of these states have. Like, it just became America, and we're part of this global economy, when America, like you said, is hundreds of different districts,
microeconomies
and microeconomies. And so made in the USA was a norm when I was a little kid. I mean, I remember when Walmart and Sam Walton, when I was little, was all about made in the USA, and but then Walmart turned around and became global.
Honestly, I was about to say, but honestly, Walmart was one of the biggest reasons why things went global.
They were one of the first people. They were one of the first retail chains to start sourcing their materials out of in China and Taiwan.
first-hand knowledge working as at a competitor of Walmart's from how they conducted their retail business versus how other companies conducted their retail business. And Walmart would squeeze their what do you call it, providers for every as much as they could get, and they were the ones who they're like, we don't care where you make it anymore, you know. So
well, and it really
went
happened once Sam died and his kids took over.
And
went public and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is, and just a cultural part of what's happened to us when we were younger. Businesses were more regional, more family owned.
Yes.
This whole thing of the stock market and investors and everything being bought out by private equity and everything merging into these big, massive corporations. We have lost this, I don't know, this culture of business and creating and working in America that we had when we were growing up. We don't have it anymore. So all of that, just, mom and pop shops and things. And Walmart was part of that. There was a big thing when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s of what would happen to a small town when a Walmart would come in, because before a Walmart came in, you'd have your dress shops and your cobblers and your butchers and all of that. And all of that stuff just disappears, and your bookstores and all that, and your toy stores. And then once stores like Walmart popped up, they would all those businesses would start to close. But that was just the precursor to, I mean, in a lot of ways, though, again, that's just the natural evolution, because now even places like Walmart aren't being able to survive because of the internet. Because now, why should you even go out to shop when you can have it delivered? Right. You know, but again, with evolution, you got to remember our government made policies that encouraged one form of behavior over another. It made policies encouraging globalism and conglomerations and buyouts and all of this stuff, instead of making policies that protected small businesses or protected, American owned things or American ran things. It was all about, getting cheap labor overseas, or our boomer parents sold all their businesses to some big corporation and cashed out, and then left their kids hanging and stuff like that. So it's a combination of policy of different, a changing mood. But yes, it is evolution. I agree with that. But to me, the most important thing our government can do is make policies to create an environment for as many citizens as possible to be successful. And that, to me, that's the best way a government can operate, is to create an environment through policy where we can all do the best that we can do and be as successful as we can. And it feels like the policies that have been made in our lifetime have really benefited a few in the global scale, while just setting everybody else, pushing everybody else under the bus. I wouldn't disagree with any part of what you just said. I listen. I think that would be a lovely, noble. That is almost the Athenian democracy. The government should. You're right. The government should exist and create policies that allow every citizen to thrive in society, as best as whatever that looks like to them. Right. That, unfortunately, is not any government in this world does that. Maybe, maybe the one in that one Scandinavian country with the 95% tax rate, but also everybody is super happy. Yeah, I don't know. I would argue America was pretty close for a long time. I would argue America was pretty close for a long time. I mean, we always. I don't know if it's been close in our lifetimes, though. That's what I'm saying. Not in our lifetimes. Maybe in the 50s, maybe in the 40s. I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. I think it would be great. It's not going to happen that way. I don't even know how you would parse the government at this point has its I can't even talk about the government at this point today without getting political, so I'm not going to. Okay, right on. Let's just say I don't believe that the government at this point, the current government, has any interest in making the population happy at all. So
I believe the current government has its own self-interests at number one, and let's just leave it at that.
I think it's been that way our entire lives.
I think you're not wrong. So
Yeah.
I will definitely say that. I think you're definitely not wrong there. I mean, the government has created what we have today.
Yeah.
They have, you're absolutely right. We have moved towards a corporate world.
Right.
But again, you know, that's the evolution of the society, the society that is, you know, listen, we have more people on this planet now than have practically ever lived, you know?
Right.
And,
all the time. I know.
You know,
it's a new world, and you know, it's evolving.
Like I was wondering, I'm like, what was the, on the day I was born, there was less than 4 million people on the planet, 4 billion people on the planet. There's 8 billion now.
Yeah, it's doubled in our lifetime.
Doubled in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Doubled. And we're not talking just like, 2 to 4.
Yeah.
4 extra billion people. Where did they go?
I would say it's probably a result of globalism, because money that's been spread out all over the world has.
But because there's just this many people, then we have. It's like the system itself is now so large.
Right.
We're all just still a part of it. You know, we're all just still this one, you know, little itty bitty part of it.
Which is why I think that it could possibly, the crisis could be a breaking up of that and forcing countries to get out of the global system, at least reassess some things.
But unfortunately, I think the only way that the global system breaks is if there's some sort of massive technological breakdown, which, you know, most likely would happen with some sort of apocalyptical event.
Right.
You know, because I don't think there's any, because with this many people and the way that it isn't just, you know, it isn't just our economy is globalized. Every economy is globalized at this point.
I know.
Every economy is based on every other economy, some more than others. You know, some countries import everything. Some countries export everything. You know, some countries like to have a balance of both, you know, because we're so freaking big. We have,
we are the superpower of the world. We are the consumers, and we are also the givers. We give billions around the globe to different countries. We buy billions of dollars worth of products around the country. Honestly, the global economy, the linchpin is the United States. And what we do affects all of that ultimately, to a point. Some more than others. Some countries will be more affected more than others.
Yeah.
But yes,
so,
and it is so big.
So why shouldn't we just then embrace it and work towards, we should work towards some system that works for everybody involved, not just those of us in America, but like everybody around the world. So,
see, I disagree with that. I think you should be focused on your own countries. Every country and every leadership of every country should focus on their own people, their own citizenry, their own culture. Everybody's so different. To think that we can have some kind of one size fits all for the globe, especially with 8 billion people, I think would be an exercise in futility, to be honest.
I guess what I'm trying to say though is, like, I think that we can be a leadership. We can take the reins in being that, you know, and work towards just bettering all while we're doing the same for ourselves.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, doesn't have to. What I'm trying to say is, it doesn't have to have, one does not have to exclude the other. That's all I'm trying to say. You can work on yourselves and also help and also be a part of the global environment. I don't know. Maybe I just, you know, sing too much kumbaya. Did I lose you? Are you there? Are you mad? Hello? Are you upset? What happened? Hello? Are we okay? I hope we're okay. What happened? Hello? Oh, you're frozen. Oh no. I hope I didn't. Oh, she died. Oh no. I don't know. I don't know what happened. She went bye-bye. I'm sure she'll be back. So that was a bummer. Do I want to build a snowman? I do want to build a snowman. Oh wow. Well, but she's the host of this stream, so I got to keep going until she comes back or ends it. I don't know. Maybe no, because she's hosting the screen, so I don't know what happened. To remember what John Adams said, our government system was. I don't know how she puts it up on the screen there. Was made for immoral and religious people. Otherwise, the experiment. Well, I don't know about that. I don't always agree with what John Adams. I was more of a Jeffersonian myself. But Jefferson and Adams didn't get along. A lot of the framers didn't get along. I'm too Southern California to build a snowman too. Although I spent enough time in Utah, because my former in-laws all live in Orem, so I've spent my time in the snow, and there's definitely lots of video of my kid playing in the snow. My kid loves to play in the snow. So it's storm free, so it's not that. I mean, I guess we could keep going, but I hate to move on without her. So if she doesn't come back in a few more minutes, I guess we'll just end the stream and move forward, and hopefully we'll get her back at some point. Yeah, the founding fathers were really. I've mentioned a few times on the podcast about a podcast called History That Doesn't Suck. It's really great, and basically it I'll sing Nelson. It goes through, and it starts at the beginning, even before the revolution, and it goes through all of American history. I think it started years ago. They're up to like a couple hundred episodes, and I don't think they're in. I think they're up to World War II right now. So yeah, I know it's a weird place for her to freeze. We were kind of like almost arguing a bit, and I was trying to like diffuse and just like, oh, I I'm not trying to argue. I wanted us to be in a good place, and she froze, and I'm like, oh no, did I do something? I feel guilty right now. So that sucks. So yeah, it's really good because there's really good stories, and I learned a lot about Washington. Washington was an interesting dude, especially in his presidency. Like, I don't think he really wanted to be president. That's the interesting part. So Franklin was a weird old dude. Jefferson was kind of prissy. I don't know. I there's a lot of cool stuff about that stuff. I don't know if anybody started to watch the new HBO show that Larry David has about history that Barack Obama is producing. I'm not a fan of Larry David. I've tried to watch Curb a bunch of times, and I just can't do it. And I started to watch this new show, and I made it just through the first sketch, and I couldn't make it to the second sketch. Larry David just is too whiny, and he doesn't know when to end a joke. So I am probably not going to go back and watch that. I also didn't finish History of the World Part 2 yet. I should probably do that. Some of those sketches went a little too long too. They all seem to have the Saturday Night Live problem where they just don't know how to end a sketch. And like, I've taken a bunch of sketch writing classes now, and it's not that difficult to end a sketch. It really isn't. You just have to commit to it, you know? You have to work towards it. But, you know, if, by the way, you ever want to take classes to learn how to do improv or sketch, hit me up. There is a theater group that I work with. They do a bunch of online stuff. I've taken a whole bunch of virtual classes, and I can put you onto them. So yay them. The military wanted to make Washington a king. Yeah, I know. He didn't want it. He didn't want it. He just wanted to go home. He wanted to go home and live the rest of his life in Virginia. He was tired. It's like, I don't want to, I just want to live out on my farm and let my slaves go. So, yeah. There's that. Wow, I guess she really isn't coming back. I'll go another few minutes. Let me see. I don't know. Maybe she might have emailed me. I'll see. Yeah, everyone. I think everyone was exhausted after the revolution. I didn't realize the dang thing lasted as long as it did. It was 7-8 years. So Washington was a Gen X equivalent. I don't know. I don't know about that. Oh, she might have lost her internet. I don't know. That's weird. I would think that the stream would have gone down too, but it didn't. So, well, I'll tell you what, we're going until 7:00, and if nothing happens, then I'll call it a night, and we'll start again next week. Your birthday is the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party. Oh, that's cool. That's way cool. Boston Tea Party was interesting. There's a good episode about that. What else can we talk about? Speaking of the Constitution, I'll tell you guys a story. So I was a senior in high school back in, I think it did. I was a senior in high school back in 1988. And hey, there she is. I vamped long enough.
You did. That's amazing.
I did. I vamped long enough. I'm like, well, I'll just wait and see if she comes back.
I changed into a tank top. I was getting ready for bed because I didn't think it was going to come back.
I was just about to go into my story about Constitution Club, but
no,
I'm happy to not have to share. So that's great. We'll save that one for another time, and I will turn it back over to you.
All right.
I don't even know where we were.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and wrap it up because I don't know if it's gonna go. But
that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially since I've already changed into my pajamas. Now you guys get to see my flabby arms. Jammies.
Hey, listen, I just want to make sure we're cool. We were kind of getting a little heated there. I just wanted
100%,
to. I didn't think you were. But it was weird because, as soon as, I was like, oh, you said something like, well, I disagree with that. And I was like, well, no, I hear where you're coming from. And I want to make sure that we're okay. I get it. I hear. I'm just trying to say, kumbaya and shit. And then you were gone. And I'm like, oh, fuck, what did I do? So, I mean, like, oh, man, what did I do? What did I do? No, she just, and then I realized you were just gone. So,
no worries. I wanted to go with Dan's question real fast, and we're going to wrap it up. How do you deglobalize without pushing prices through the roof? And that's where I think our monetary system comes into play, and whether or not it can handle it and it breaks down and we change over. I don't know. This is above my pay grade when it comes to economics, throwing things out there, but things are going to happen, and we cannot even predict how it's going to go down because
we can't go back to a gold standard, really, because gold is weird.
Yeah, who knows? Oh, I realized I took my light off too, so I apologize for my darkness here. But it's so dark in my room right now. But yeah, so I don't know, Dan. I don't know how you deglobalize without pushing prices through the roof. It's not, whatever happens, it's not going to be fun, and it's not going to be easy. It's just not. Anytime you have an economic system change over, it's not easy. I don't have the answer to that, but I wanted to get there. So thank you all for hanging out as you lost me. I thank you, Grenelson, for ripping through that. That's awesome. That I didn't know it was still going on. I thought it had the stream had just completely shut down. So
nah, it kept going, and I was like, "This is weird. I don't know what to do. I'll just talk." And I kind of answered some questions. We just kind of I was just riffing. I didn't really,
Flabby.
I was like, I got really flabby arms now.
Yeah, I started reformer Pilates this week, so I'm gonna get all
good for you.
I'm gonna get all strong and toned.
Good
so
for
that's
you.
the plan.
I'm still on my diabetic diet, not eating. So
right on.
I'm like, I don't know what I have to. I probably go see what I have physical therapy on Thursday, so I'll probably find out what I weigh.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm hoping I'm down to 260.
Hopefully, I am too, and I'm not lying or joking when I say that.
No, I got started,
to be a pretty big girl.
the day I was diagnosed with diabetes in December, I was 294, and the last time I weighed myself in March, I was 273. So,
well, hey, going the right way.
I should be down to 260 by now.
Got to get healthy.
That's working on it. I don't want to have to start insulin, man.
Yeah, no, don't want to do that at all.
No,
Matt, you have
bad
to do
enough. I got it. I want to reverse it.
Right. Nothing like Gen Xers talking about the fate of our future and solving the world's problems together. And I agree. And we will continue this discussion. We will pick right up where we left off next week, because I knew that we were going to have a couple of weeks at least in this chapter, because there's just too much to go over. But yeah, this has been a great discussion. And, sometimes we got to talk about hard things or disagreements or elephants in the room, but we can do that. We are Gen Xers, and we can have discussions without getting nasty and rude. And I like that.
Yeah,
I like
I'm just
that
saying,
about us.
Kumbaya, man. Kumbaya. And we all just get along.
We all just get along. I know, right? All right.
He was in my city, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you all very much for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you, Grendelson. I appreciate you every week joining me and having these discussions. Pleasure. And we will pick back up next Tuesday, and hopefully my internet will be back on the level. We've a lot of the infrastructure around here is really damaged lately because of all the flooding. Ooh. So that kind of a thing is kind of a problem. But yes, thank you everyone so very much. Don't forget the word for tonight to put into the chat. I'm not going to repeat it. You have to go back.
Nope, you had to go back and look at it. You have to watch.
And then you can win your own copy of What Happened to Your Hair by Matthew and Gunnar Nelson. See you all next Tuesday for the book club. Tomorrow night over on the Discord, we are watching Little House on the Prairie and Cobra Kai. So join us. It'll be a good time.
And you haven't watched the new one yet, huh?
The new Little House? I'm boycotting.
Yeah,
I'm boycotting.
But
I love my Landon series.
But what if they say it's okay? What if Melissa Gilbert says it's okay?
I just, as a fan, I'm gonna keep with the Landon series in the books. Yep.
That's okay. I saw a comedian who was talking about it the other day. She's like, listen, we all know what it was. It was the Michael Landon series. Okay. Yes. We just wanted to see Pa, doing chores without the shirt on. That's what the show is. That's all it is. And Mom knew it. Mom knew it back in the 70s. So yeah, I get it. I might give it a shot though. I'll let you know. She froze again. Oh, crap. All right. Well, this time it's actually goodbye. So goodbye.